Navy Federal has a mission to put members first by making their financial goals the priority. Receive a lifetime of membership benefits to help you and your family accomplish your life missions, like a full suite of financial products designed to fit your needs, 24/7 live support, and access to over 300 branches on or near military bases. Visit NavyFederal.org for more information or call 1-888-842-6328 or download the Navy Federal Credit Union app. Message and data rates may apply. Navy Federal is federally insured by NCUA.
Welcome to the Solid Verbal. The Solid Verbal.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
I've heard so many players say, well, I want to be happy. You want to be happy for a day? Eat a steak.
It's that woo woo!
And now, Dan and Ty.
Welcome back to the Solid Verbal, boys and girls. My name is Ty Hildenbrandt. Joining me, as always, back over there in New York City, the NYC. We are back. His name is Dan Rubenstein. Sir, how are you?
Is it just me, Ty? Or is Fargo calling us back?
It kind of feels like a siren call, haunting us at night to come back to the upper plains to watch North Dakota State play South Dakota State, I believe, this week.
You know, the people that sort of go door to door asking, I'm not even speaking about one particular religion. There's lots of people who are trying to sell a religion. And they always go with like, do you feel like something's missing from your life?
Right.
Are you looking to fill the emptiness that you feel?
The void. Yeah.
Since I've been back in New York, I'm feeling that Fargo siren call.
Let me ask you a question. How many people have you told that you went to Fargo? Just like in
a handful.
In your like immediate circle, a handful?
Spoke to Mama Rubenstein today. She asked how Fargo went. Couple people saw that, like, we tweeted out the travelogue video.
Great job on that.
Recorded an episode.
Great job.
Thank you. It came out really, really nicely. I was happy with it.
Let me ask you a question. Here's where I'm going with this. How many people responded with, "Why'd you go to Fargo?"
Many.
Yeah, mine's at about 85%. I'd say.
My mom is at the point with me where she doesn't try to understand some of the things I do. She's like, "Okay, yeah, I support it. Great." And she really didn't push. So I explained it, and she was happy to know that footage of me curling made it into the broadcast.
This is true. So, well,
that was everything that mattered.
Look, we are back. We hope that you've had a chance to view the travelogue video and listen to the travelogue audio that we posted. The podcast is out there as of Sunday evening. The video is out there not only on our Twitter account, but also on the Sports Illustrated Twitter account.
Yes.
You can go out there and see like a 2-minute condensed video version of what we experienced out there in Fargo, North Dakota. A lot warmer here on the East Coast, but certainly a great experience to be out there at North Dakota State. We wish that it wasn't against Colgate, which is the only bittersweet part of this, but nonetheless, a really cool experience to witness what goes on at North Dakota State, see the dynasty that has been built, and see the fan support. That was all really exciting, really cool. And we hope that you can relive the experience with us by listening and watching along.
And to those who have asked, we enjoyed our burgers from Pounds.
Yes.
And we enjoyed coffee and a pastry from Youngblood, sort of downtown. That was great before the game. And in Minneapolis, we had a great meal at, I think it's Grand Catch?
Grand Catch, yes.
Grand Catch. Then we had a superb meetup with a few dozen Verballers came out last second, which was really cool to see. Met some luminaries.
That's right.
Will Ojanin is how it's pronounced, I believe.
Will in Minnesota.
Yes. And Dan Klobuchar. So among many, many new luminaries among the Verballer hood. So that was incredibly cool to just have a beer and chat. We promise that whether it's, on the West Coast somewhere, in Texas, in the Southeast, wherever we jointly go, we will try to do this because it was a damn good time.
There has been immediate feedback to the video, to the audio, that you and I should pick one game every year.
I'm in.
And maybe do something similar. So we could talk about that, Dan. We'll have our people talk to each other, see what we can work out.
We're coming for you. Cheney, Washington, Kennesaw, Georgia.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, welcome back to the show. It's good to be back in our normal digs here. I'm Ty. He's Dan. Don't forget to hit us up at solidverbal@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Check out the subreddit, reddit.com/r/solidverbal. We'll be here all off season and certainly with you for the entire duration of bowl season, which, by the way, if you haven't gotten in on the bowl confidence pool, go out to solidverbal.com/conpool. All one word, not the sequel to Con Air, thankfully.
Yet.
Con Pool, as in confidence pool, which, as some folks also asked us on social media today, when are you going to start going through games? Today is your lucky day. Today we're going to actually start going through games. So hold your horses. Before we get there, though, Dan, we do have some breaking news.
Boop, boop. Did you have tea? Boop, 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 boop for your throat?
I had coffee, actually.
Whoa. It's a dehydrant?
Mysterious vacation day from the mysterious day job, but
right. Straight black? Milk and sugar?
I went straight black today because I was extremely tired. I was texting you. I'm like, I'm 20 minutes out. I'm going to be able to do normal recording time, but it needed a shot of life.
All right, let's get into some news because the coaching carousel keeps us spinning. And maybe we should start here since we opened with Fargo talk. Chris Kleiman, the North Dakota State coach. We talked about it a little bit while we were in the Upper Plains. He was rumored to be a candidate for Kansas State, and now he is officially replacing Bill Snyder, the long-tenured, twice-tenured Kansas State coach in the Little Apple in Manhattan, Kansas, taking over Kansas State. And it's hard for me to get a full read because the people that are most vocal are not necessarily the capital T, capital P, the people. And it seems to me like a really good hire.
Yeah.
For Kansas State. And I know there was some pushback, some louder pushback from some people online about like, well, what are his recruiting ties to Kansas? Bill Snyder put together pretty bad classes at Kansas State. You don't win at Kansas State with stellar recruiting. That's just, if you're looking to win that way, it's never going to work. He 66-7, 66-67-6, some sort of record like that.
67-6, yeah. And he's going to be the coach this week in the FCS semifinals against South Dakota State.
Yeah.
And presumably in Frisco. I'm guessing they'll make it that far, but you never know. SDSU plays them tight. But yeah, I mean, this is a guy who's got a sterling record at North Dakota State. He's clearly built a dynasty there. My question to you is, and I've seen the same stuff, like, well, what about his recruiting? Guess what? You're talking K-State here. No disrespect to K-State. But
you can get a reality, yeah.
You can get singularly the best coach at the FCS level. Does it really matter what his recruiting ties are? Like that to me is a catch if you can haul that guy in. Clearly there was a familiarity there. The AD at K-State was the one who promoted Kleiman initially when he took over at North Dakota State. He invited him to come to Manhattan, Kansas to be the head football coach. The video of the phone call was actually posted on social media by K-State, which was really cool. And so we wish him well. I think it's a great hire too. Maybe there's something I'm missing because I'm not an expert and I don't know the ins and outs of this, but it seems to me like if you're K-State and you get a guy of this magnitude who has proven that he can build his team up regardless of the level, that's significant.
Yes, and Jim Tressel, similar, not identical situation going from Youngstown State to Ohio State. I think the most important thing is going to be culture and infrastructure of a winning program, and Chris Kleiman brings that. And I am excited to see what Kansas State looks like because, once again, the recruiting thing, he will hire assistants familiar with Texas and junior colleges in Kansas. I am not at all worried about that. Bill Snyder's last 6, 7, 8 classes never finished higher than 8th in the 10-team Big 12. And the final year in which there were 12 teams in the Big 12, Kansas State finished 12th.
Yep.
So
there you go.
That's not going to be the lifeblood of a successful program in the state of Kansas in the way it is elsewhere in the conference.
The only thing that I'll add here in closing on this hire, Kleiman's teams were good on both offense and defense. Obviously, they produced high-level NFL draft picks in the form of one Carson Wentz, who everybody knows at this point. They were the number one scoring offense in all of FCS this year. And to go along with that, they had the number 3 scoring defense. So they were very balanced on both sides of the ball. We saw it up close and personal. They were dominant. They were dominant against the so-called best defense in FCS. They were totally dominant in all phases of the game. So Chris Kleiman going to be your new head football coach at K-State. The other one here that is reported, I guess, at this point, I don't know if it's official, but Manny Diaz,
as of today.
Yeah, the former Miami defensive coordinator who's bounced around and has been a mind that many of us have been quite interested in as a defensive savant, if you will. He's headed to Temple. He's going to take over for the Owls.
The new cradle of coaches.
Yeah, that's
Temple
right.
Of Owls. So you have Al Golden and Steve Adazio, and now Jeff Collins making his way to Atlanta and Georgia Tech. That's official. And so now Manny Diaz, who has been at major programs, Texas, Mississippi State, NC State, and most recently Miami, makes the move up. I called it the reverse Golden because that's what it is, the reverse Al Golden, going from Miami to Temple. And I also saw Don Brown, the Michigan defensive coordinator, was a name that was, there was a lot of interest in him. I guess he interviewed for the job with the Owls. But Manny Diaz, a younger coach with, I think, a lot of people thinking that he can do some pretty big things. He's pretty well regarded. So I like the hire for Temple. It's an ideal place secretly to be a I guess, group of 5 program playing in a big group of 5 conference and having that sort of proximity to the sort of in between, the teetering talent between group of 5 and Power 5 with a lot of talent in the New Jersey area.
Yep.
So very cool to see Diaz taking over.
Like you said, young guy, only 44, has bounced around, had some good experience with major college programs, has not been a head coach yet. So we'll see what he can do. Only a prominent defensive coordinator until now. Manny Diaz, official to Temple. Elsewhere in the coaching realm, at least among some other head coaching positions. I don't know if we talked about Hugh Freeze to Liberty, which is a little weird.
Only Jesus can handle his junk. That's a quote.
So we've also got App State, which is in the market for a new coach after Scott Satterfield left to go to Louisville, reportedly considering both Ruffin McNeil and Josh Gaddis.
I saw Nate Woody, his name in there as well, who was the old App State defensive coordinator and hired by Georgia Tech, who we presume is now on the open market with Paul Johnson retiring.
And in the way of positional coaches, we have Dan Enos, the quarterback coach, the assistant head coach at Alabama. He was promoted to the new offensive coordinator spot because Mike Loxley left to take the Maryland job. You might remember that Dan Enos name. He did coach Central Michigan for 5 years after a rocky start, ended up being about a 500 coach between 2012 and 2014. It will now be
shout out Dan
him.
Lefevre.
Dan Lefevre, right? It'll now be his show down there with Tua and all of the offensive weaponry that Nick Saban returns in 2019.
And he's bringing along nobody. No, I was going to say, because we mentioned Mike Loxley leaving Alabama, he is bringing along Butch Jones to Maryland.
Yeah.
Butch Jones was an analyst for Alabama this year on offense and will be taking over tight ends, and I believe will be an associate head coach for the Terps. And that's in terms of big deal stuff. Josh Gaddis is actually an interesting name. You mentioned that with App State. Certainly the Penn State receivers took a step back this year without him in State College. Did, I think, a really good job for Alabama as the co-OC this year. We'll see what happens with his position moving forward.
All right. And then the only other thing that I wanted to bring up here, I'm looking at an article from a dear friend, Nicole Auerbach.
Yes.
Headlined with, quote, "We don't need to wait another 6 years, college football leaders ready to discuss 8-team playoff, Dan." Ooh, I saw that you tweeted this out while I was away. As you might imagine, it conjured up a lot of emotion in the Twitter sphere, I'm sure, all around college football. Can you give us the gist of this article?
The gist is that some people who had previously been associated with the playoff committee, like Barry Alvarez, for instance, have spoken to each other at length about the possibility of an 8-team playoff. This is nothing that is at least publicly on the table with current committee members, but there are some former people on this committee that have come around as soon as it doesn't matter what they think.
Right.
They've come around.
Usually the way it works, right?
Right. It's, it's that congressman who is, super against pot and then gets out of the business. Is this John Boehner?
This may actually be a real congressman. Yes, that is correct.
I think it was John Boehner who was like against pot and then all of a sudden is like, oh, I run a pot farm now.
I'm buying stock. Yeah.
Anyway, this is getting a little bit far afield. This is all to say it would have been cool to have this discussion happen while you were in power. This is them surmising that they shouldn't have to wait another 6 years for the contract to be up to renegotiate how many teams and redo to the competitive nature of the playoff going from 4 to 8 or 4 to 6 to 8, whatever. And UCF and how they were treated and the way that they believe the SEC, this is them saying it, not Ty or myself, that the SEC is given preferential treatment and given the benefit of the doubt a little bit too often with how LSU didn't move down at all and how Washington State and, Penn State and all these teams really didn't have the ability to move up, and that perhaps the SEC has too strong a stranglehold because of what they perceive to be an inflated reputation. With now Georgia being in the consideration at number 5 ahead of Ohio State, who won with only one loss their conference, and last year with 2 SEC teams getting in. And I can understand the frustration from people affiliated with conferences that haven't made it in. I do. And it's to me the eternal question of, is this a TV show? Is this trying to be an actual competitive thing? Are we trying to get all of the conferences represented because they all in some form pay into this system? What are we trying to do here?
Hold on,
it's
Dan.
The Taylor Twellman thing.
I need to play this again. We have breaking news.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
This was inevitable. This conversation. Maybe
yeah.
Maybe it's not breaking news, but it's right here. In the article, the quote from Barry Alvarez, who was on the College Football Playoff Selection Committee for 3 seasons, I guess. Quote,
and willing to be your interim coach at any time.
He's willing, he's able. Barry Alvarez is on the table. Quote, everyone has the same feeling. Expansion is inevitable. No matter how many times we have this conversation about should it be 6 or should it be 4 or should it be 8? Should it be 32? No matter how many times we have this discussion, here is the cruel reality. We have 4 now. If you double it, there is more money to be made. There's more money to be made. The contracts, the TV contracts will grow. Interest in the playoff system will grow because more teams will be included. For sure, there might be a bit of sacrificing the sanctity, if you will, of the regular season. But the truth of the matter is they're leaving money on the table, and this is inevitable. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Not a question of if, merely a question of when. For my money, and how, agreed. For my money, it's all about let's just get this thing done. What is inevitable should just be implemented now. They implemented this playoff in a matter of weeks, it felt, when they finally decided to move to it. Let's just rip off the Band-Aid, get this thing planned out, put the wheels in motion here, and start it up like after next season. Why the hell not?
So you're approaching it in a very third-party-ish kind of way. Just saying, I think it will happen. It makes sense. This is a sport that is constantly, like the universe, in perpetual expansion, right?
I'm a realist when it comes to this topic. It is going to happen. Whether you like it, whether I like it, whether we hate it. It is going to happen. So the sooner it happens, the sooner we can start working out the kinks.
My question isn't will it. My question is, what do you want, Ty? I know it doesn't matter what you want, but what is your ideal? You're a prominent voice in the digital college football media universe.
When you put it like that.
What do you want, Ty? What to you is for competitive reasons, for entertainment reasons, and wherever that blends together? What do you want?
I've always been a proponent of the Dan Wetzel plan.
Which is what, 16?
Which is 16, some automatic bids in there, some games that are played at home fields of teams that qualify. I'm missing the details. I apologize to Dan, who's been on this program a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But his plan to me always felt like among all the other plans that were floated out there, at least his was the most well thought out. And it seemed to be the most inclusive to capture not only wild card teams, but also conference champions and some of the group of 5 schools that have frankly been left out of the current model. That to me feels like the best thought out plan available. And I've always been a proponent of that. That being said, I think 4 has worked out pretty well so far, especially in a year like this. It's worked out quite well. I think 8 is the next logical jump. We might not be ready for 16 at this point. It might require too much of a logistical shift from where we're at to get there. I think eventually we will get there, but for now, the move to 8, I'm totally on board with it. Let's do it.
I think the question that's not being asked enough is, do we want the playoff to be a playoff, or do we want it to be solely an invitational to find a national champion? And that might sound like those are very similar ideas, but is it a matter of, do we want this to become a month-long thing, a 3-week-long thing, a 2-week-long thing, or do we want it to be just an extended national championship, just that like Final Four situation? You know, the NCAA tournament is a thing. The Final Four in the national championship game is a different thing. It's,
right.
You know, it's a
That's
smaller part of that universe. And as soon as you go beyond 4, it's not a national championship thing. It's just a thing. And I'm okay with that. That's fine by me. I just want it to be organized in such a way where if we are comparing teams, that we have similar data points. And that's what I tweeted out earlier today. I was like,
sure,
going to 8 is fine. Like, I'm never going to complain about more football. I'm not making any money, you know, relative to what these conferences are making from TV companies. I'm not making any more or less money based on what they do. We'll do another show about it, and that's pretty much how it'll affect my life, other than watching more football. But we would probably, if we want to get it right, and as the playoff becomes a capital P playoff instead of a national championship grouping, then we have to discuss, how do we make sure this national sport is, if it's every conference, every Power 5 conference sending its champion to this playoff, plus whatever, 2 at large and a group of 5, which is the popular way to get to 8 right now.
Yep.
It is, how are we scheduling things? Is it 8-game conference season? Is it 9-game conference season? Are we doing pods like Bill Connolly has pretty intelligently laid out? What are we doing to get to the final point? Are we getting rid of divisions and conferences and just playing the best 2 teams so we can, not leave out, Alabama from last season, who was clearly one of the best 2 teams, even with the Auburn loss in the SEC? How are we getting 2 conference champions? That's TO conference champions. And so what are non-conference schedules like? If we don't want it to be this national, I'm okay with actually going back to the old pre-BCS system. I'm just, go back to chaos, embrace the chaos. Have your Pac-12 and Big Ten teams in the Rose Bowl.
See, I'm not fine with that. I'm not fine with that, because
what if a national championship isn't the point of college football, Ty?
Well, then what is the point of college football? Why are you
just
playing?
Win your games. Win your games.
What's the point of playing if you're not going to win anything? You win the games, but if you can't win a title or something at the end of it, why play at all? They're all just exhibition games in that sense.
They're not exhibition games. We embrace the fact that it's a weird sport. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that UCF can win 25 straight games and not play for anything with appreciable stakes like other teams, even though that they can schedule, all of the Power 5 teams they want for September. Well, and it doesn't matter.
I admire the willingness to just sort of go hard in the other direction. Right.
Yeah,
acknowledging that the sport is kind of oddly shaped. There's not a whole lot of symmetry, at least in terms of scheduling, at a minimum, in terms of scheduling. And so maybe we'll never get to this point, but where we can crown a true, quote unquote, true national champion that feels fair to everybody.
But if the regular season is the most meaningful thing, why don't we put everything squarely there?
Write in. Let us know what you think. We're at solidverbal@gmail.com.
I hope you were telling me to write in, that you were done dealing with me.
I mean, you know the email address. You know my email address. The secret, mysterious email address.
I am good with an 8-teamer with normalized. I'm good with a 6-teamer with normalized infrastructure, which means a full-on governing body, because this is not the playoff is not an NCAA event.
That is
the
correct.
NCAA regulates eligibility and some rules, but it's not overseeing the competitive nature of the postseason.
I want to hear what people have to say. I know this is kind of a charged topic. I'm not going to fight you to the death on your opinion on this matter. I've always been in favor of settling it on the field. If you're going to be of the mindset that we should crown a national champion, I think you should decide it on the field. I don't think you should leave it up to voters or metrics or what people think. I think we should use some guidance from those sources to try and determine who should be playing for it. I think that's fair. But I think you should decide it on the field. Who is your champion?
Let's
decide
go
it on
back,
the field.
Ty.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Just end the season with like 35 bowl games, and that's that.
All right. Write in. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
solidverbal@gmail.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All the usual hotspots. Reddit, you have it. You know all the spots already.
Mm-hmm.
I guess now would be a good time to mention that the deal is still in place, you know. If you go to theathletic.com/solidverbal, we just sort of waxed poetic about the incredible exclusive our friend Nicole Auerbach got, which you can read out there in its entirety on theathletic.com. But 40% off comes out to just $2.99 a month. It's a great gift for the sports fan in your life. It's a great gift for you. Maybe you don't got that sports fan in your life. Maybe you just want to buy yourself a gift. You've worked hard this year.
I'll tell you what, Jody and I just bought a subscription for herself. Could have used mine. I'll be honest. I was willing to let her have it. But she said, no, I want my personalized Chicago sports and Michigan sports coverage. She got her own.
Did she use the offer code?
Absolutely.
Yes.
She did. We have very expensive taste. I need some of that kickback.
Theathletic.com/solidverbal. Join the future of journalism now. It's no frills. It gives you exactly what you need. Really good sports content. They're continually adding to the platform to give you more of the good stuff. And Lord knows, plenty of our friends are over there doing tireless, thankless work on the topic of college football. And we would encourage everyone to support their efforts. They're really doing a remarkable job. And whether it's the coaching carousel, whether it's stuff like this with the playoff, you can find everything you need. One fell swoop.
Ty, I think it's probably time, because I feel like saying it often enough when we talk about the sport or just weird occurrences in games. I'm going to have to rip that Taylor Twellman audio after the USMNT didn't
What are we even doing?
Qualify. What are we even doing? It was so perfect. I've known Taylor for a while now, and it was just the best.
We got it. We're going to have to pull that audio. That can have its own spot on the soundboard here.
What are we even doing?
Our other sponsor this evening is our good friends over at Indochino.com. That's INDOCHINO.com. No longer any excuse for wearing an ill-fitted suit, because Indochino is North America's leading made-to-measure menswear company that makes suits and shirts to your exact measurements for an unparalleled fit and comfort. You can either visit a showroom and have a stylist take your measurements personally, or you can measure at home. And then you can shop online at Indochino.com. All you got to do is choose your fabrics, your design customizations, be it your lapel, your jacket lining, your pockets, your buttons, your monogram. If you're feeling up to it, whatever you're into, they can do it. And then you just chill. You chill. They're going to make your suit. It's professionally tailored, again, to your exact specifications. They mail it to you in a couple weeks. We've had people who listen to this program write in and wax poetic about what Indochino has done for them for their formal occasion, for their wedding. We've had people get like all of their suits for their wedding through Indochino.com. It's really a good deal. And especially now, because you can get any premium Indochino suit for just $359 at Indochino.com when you enter SOLID, SOLID, at checkout, 50% off the regular price for a made-to-measure premium suit. Shipping is free. One more time, that's INDOCHINO.com, Indochino.com. Your promo code is SOLID, and your offer is any premium suit for just $359 and free shipping. An incredible deal for that premium made-to-measure suit that you know you want.
I will tell you this, Ty. A really well-fitting suit is a mind changer. You see somebody walk into a nice wedding, if it's black tie, if it's just a suit, whatever, business, and they walk in wearing a really nice suit, and somebody's like, oh, where's Brendan? I'm like, oh, there's Brendan. And like, oh, hey, wow, okay. You change people's opinions about you that you care. And that's what a really nice fitting suit can do for you. We're a superficial species, Ty.
That's correct.
Let's steer into it.
That is correct. So we do have some NFL declarations that I want to get to, but I feel like we've waited too long to talk about bowls. I'm kind of getting jumpy over here.
You getting a little antsy? Let's do it.
Do I play the picks of the week sound? Because it's not technically a week. It's like we don't have a bowl sound per se.
Unless you want to record one live right now. That might be our only option. What do you have, Ty? Come on.
I'm just going to play it. We need to cradle and cultivate any new sound in this program.
We do. It's, we've been playing these for a while and we're not getting rid of them, but we can add to. Maybe we can
next week when we do our next bowl show. I need to think this through. I can't do this haphazardly.
Let's do what some really smart people did with Roger Ebert's voice when he lost his ability to speak.
Yeah.
And we're able to make him sound like himself with the use of a machine. Let's do that with Taylor Twellman and his voice to create new sounds.
I can do that, by the way.
Yes.
I can do that.
I wouldn't put it past you.
All right. So we've got a bowl pool. Mm-hmm. It's a confidence pool. It works a little differently than the stuff we've been doing against the spread all year. The way this works is you go out to solidverbal.com/conpool. Again, not the sequel to Con Air, regrettably. Yeah. And you pick the winners. You tell us who you think is going to win these games. And then as an additional layer on top of that, you tell us how confident you are on a scale of 1, which is your least confident, to 41, which is your most confident. If you correctly identify the winner, you get the number of points that you assign to that game. So, for example, if you think, like most of the world, that, I don't know, Tulane or Louisiana is going to beat Tulane, let's say. Mm-hmm. If you're very confident in that, you pick Louisiana. Louisiana wins. You get 40 points. You get 40 points.
So deep end of the con pool.
That's right. If you lose, you don't get any points. If you only put 1, you only get 1 point. But it's very easy. Like, we've got some of the smartest listeners in all the podcast sphere listening to this show. Clearly, people can figure this out.
So to honor the con pool, I am going to select bowl winners based on how buoyant I believe their head coach to be.
Perfect.
Who the more buoyant head coach is in each matchup.
And I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because I have a couple rules that I like to follow in confidence pools.
Yeah. You have yours, I have mine.
Can I identify my 3 rules before we get into this?
Floor is yours.
So the first rule, it's one that I've discussed here ad nauseum over the last couple seasons, and I call it the East Coast Elliott rule. I didn't come up with it. I'm not smart enough to come up with it. East Coast Elliott is a bit of a mad scientist. Mm-hmm. He's the one that first introduced this to me. I think it's brilliant. His point is that you should load up on your confidence points early, because there are a lot of these early games that people don't know about, but the early games tend to be bigger mismatches just because of the way things shake out. They tend to be bigger mismatches. Maybe they have the same record, but if you actually dig in, which we're going to start doing here through the first 7 games, oftentimes they end up being bigger mismatches, and a lot of people don't put their early confidence points on those games because they don't know the teams. Right. So it's a good opportunity for you, if you can spot a mismatch, to load up on points early and get some points in the board. So that's the first thing. Since I started doing that, I have done much, much better in my own confidence pools.
Nice.
All right. So that's one. That's the first thing you should do. The second thing is just look at the setting for a bowl game. This has become, I think, a little bit more prominent as of late because of guys sitting out for the NFL. But certainly we've just gotten done talking about coaching moves and all sorts of atmospherics that can play into what kind of team is going to the bowl, right? So if a team lost its coach, consider picking the opponent. Not in every case, but at least consider it. If you've got a monster injury, you got to consider that. And then we've got this thing again with guys skipping their bowl games. I look at the game like between West Virginia and Syracuse. Will Greer, quarterback, not playing. To me, that's pretty significant. I'm going to go Syracuse in that game. In that game. Almost solely because of Will Greer not playing. Consider it. And then the third rule, I'd say, just in general, pick the team that you think wants it more. Unless it's a total mismatch.
Whoa.
Pick the team that you think wants it more. I'm looking at that Auburn-Purdue game in the Music City Bowl. All right. I have to imagine that Auburn couldn't give a flying F about that football game. Mm-hmm. Why would they? It's Purdue. Meanwhile, Purdue, I think they're looking at it from a much different perspective. They're holding on to their coach, who's done a great job in 2 seasons. Yep. I have to imagine the game means a hell of a lot more to them than it does Auburn. The question you have to ask yourself, is it too big of a mismatch? We'll talk about that in a few weeks, but these are the questions that I'm asking. Again, On this show, we're going to do the first batch of games, which runs from Saturday the 15th, this Saturday the 15th, through Thursday the 20th. We'll preview all of the FBS games, but it is worth noting that there's one other game on your confidence pool, and that's the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl between North Carolina A&T, the Aggies, and the Alcorn State Braves. They play it in Atlanta. North Carolina A&T favored by 7.5. I'm not going to pretend to know hide nor hair about this game or any of these teams, but I'm going to get saucy. I'm going to go against the Braves in Atlanta. And I'm going to say North Carolina A&T, a good team. They're going to win outright, and I'm putting all 41 points in that first game.
And once again, I only have one element that will help me pick these games, and that is
buoyancy,
the upward force exerted by a fluid that opposes the weight of an immersed object. And I am going to pick these games based on which coach seems more likely to float or his buoyancy.
What are our options here?
All right, let's start here with you want to chalk the Auto Nation Cure Bowl? Willie Fritz versus,
no. First off, who are you picking in the Celebration Bowl?
It was North Carolina A&T against
Alcorn State.
Let's go North Carolina A&T.
Okay, we agree. Now,
I don't know I'm not going to pretend to know the buoyancies. I've done a lot of buoyancy research, but not about those two coaches.
All right, now, as you were.
Let's start here with the Auto Nation Cure Bowl in Orlando. Tulane, which had a decent enough season. They go 6-6, but they're in a bowl game, and they've got a wonderful mascot in the Angry Wave. And they're taking on the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana, a.k.a. Louisiana Lafayette, Willie Fritz, Billy Napier. 7-6, and Tulane, I believe, is favored by a field goal-ish.
That is correct, yeah.
My just gut is Tulane is better because Louisiana has the worst defense, and that's when I'm being serious. What I look at in a game like this, and Tulane can run the ball, I also believe Willie Fritz to be slightly more buoyant than Billy Napier.
Okay. See, I look at this game a little differently. Tulane fired their OC after their offense was terrible.
It was not good.
93rd nationally in scoring. Also, look at 4 of Louisiana's 6 losses. They were to 10-2 App State twice. They lost once in the regular season, again in the title game for their conference. Yep. They lost to Mississippi State and Alabama. And they've got a really good running game in the backfield.
Good losses, yeah.
Good losses. The other team had some coaching turnover. I think the wrong team is favored here. I'm going Louisiana. With a fair amount of confidence. I'll go, let's say, 38.
Wow.
Load up early.
You're really going for it early in the con pool.
That's what you do, man.
All right. We disagree. Okay.
There is an additional layer. Yes, we need to talk about this, please.
Give me the layer, Ty, because you put this together.
Swag, Dan.
Swag.
Now, I must admit, I am hesitant to read some of these gifts aloud. So if you're listening for the first time, like, what is this college football thing? The kids go to the bowl games, and without exception, they all get gifts.
Why are you hesitant?
Because there are words in here that I have not practiced.
Okay.
And you know what happens to me? I tend to overthink it.
Globe.
And that's when Globe tomatoes turn into Globe tomatoes, which do not exist.
Right.
Here is what we got here for the Auto Nation Cure Bowl. A Holloway Force jacket. Sunglasses with a carry case. An Energizer power bank, a duffel bag, a Pebble Beach slides, it says here, which I'm guessing must be the new iSlide sandals. A DOP kit, which I believe is a bunch of toiletry bags.
Toiletry bag, yeah. Useful.
Very useful. Sport Tech long sleeve contender t-shirt and a cap.
I think this is a real winner of a swag list.
What is a Holloway Force jacket?
I looked it up. It's like a soft hoodie. Okay. Like a thin, soft hoodie that you'd maybe wear on like a slightly chilly day or around the house if it's a little chilly out. I'm wearing something comparable right now, and I think that's great. It looks great to me. Nobody on this list is paying for any sort of compliments. The power bank is great. I used my portable phone battery when we were in Fargo. The DOP kit is useful. This is, I would say, a solid B+, A- right here.
This is everything you need to go on like a nice day trip.
Yeah.
All right. The Cure Bowl.
Yeah, that's
we
all.
disagree. Moving on. Let's go to the New Mexico Bowl. They played in Albuquerque. Saturday, it's at 2 p.m. on ESPN. North Texas, the Mean Green at 9-3, squaring off against Utah State at 10-2. The point spread for those that matter is 8 points in favor of the Utah State Aggies, excuse me. You may remember that Utah State, we talked a little bit about them down the stretch here because they lost their coach Matt Wells to Texas Tech. He's taken a good chunk of that staff from Utah State with him. Of note, when you're picking games, Matt Wells will be involved in practice and in the game planning for the New Mexico Bowl, but he's not going to coach the team on game day.
Okay.
On the flip side, we got the Mean Green, North Texas, holding on to Seth Luttrell after he was rumored for and eventually pulled his name out of that K-State coaching search. This would be the first time that North Texas has won 10 games since 1947. And I'm not counting the 1977 season where they won a game in there because of a forfeit. So I think a lot on the line for North Texas. I think Utah State in a bit of coaching turmoil. You know how I feel about that. Rule number 2.
Right.
Though I feel like Utah State is better on both offense and defense, it's not what I would consider a full-on mismatch. So I go Mean Green outright here to the tune of not like 38 points, but I'm going to say 25.
So Utah State's head coach who led them to this season will not be on the sidelines during the game. So by default, Seth Luttrell, the more buoyant of the two coaches in the con pool. Also, Utah State, while a really good year, going 10-2 and playing for the Mountain West, near the end, they were in it for the Mountain West. They really inflated that record with some wins over some pretty bad teams, whereas North Texas, I felt like, was a little bit more competitive, even though they do lose to, I believe they lost early to who did they lose to? UAB?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with North Texas here. I think North Texas is the more stable program. Seth Luttrell opted to stay in Denton, so I have the Mean Green 28-21 here with medium amount of confidence.
We agree! All right.
Swag.
A gift suite.
Okay.
A gift suite. So they put them in a room. I guess they let them walk around and pick gifts, or they just give them a gift bag or something like that. Oakley Jupiter squared sunglasses.
I looked them up. They're all right.
Okay.
If you're like if you're Bip Roberts, like you're a left fielder. You didn't expect a Bip Roberts reference, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Didn't. Also, an Oakley 5-speed backpack, a Bluetooth speaker, a water bottle, a beanie, a Montgomery fountain pen.
Mm-hmm.
You ever use a fountain pen before?
Not often. Probably
Yeah.
once or twice. At a bank, maybe.
Takes a little finesse, Dan. Not going to lie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a headwear trucker's cap is what we're looking at here.
Okay. This is fine.
This is a
All
beach
of
trip.
this-
This is a beach trip is what this is. The Bluetooth
Yeah.
speaker and the backpack and the sunglasses. Yeah.
And when you go to beachy Albuquerque,
Right.
you have to come prepared. A Bluetooth speaker is great. It's valuable. Water bottle, always good and great for the environment, not using plastic. And it's fine. Nothing
Okay.
that is wowing me. I don't know what's in the gift suite. I will, if there are a lot of enchiladas at the New Mexico Bowl, then you can sell me.
As always, if any of these bowls want to send us free swag, we are interested.
Yeah. Or enchiladas. Also interesting.
Or enchiladas.
Yeah.
The Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl. They play it at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. It's on ABC Saturday, 3:30. Arizona State at 7-5 versus Fresno State, your Fresno State Bulldogs at 11-2. They're a 4-point favorite. Of note here, N'Keal Harry going pro will not be playing in this game for ASU. So
Right.
again, coming back to my rules, that's one strike against ASU. The other thing, Dan, when you look at the numbers for this game, Fresno's really legit. Like, we didn't talk enough about it this season because a lot of times they're playing late. They're a group of 5 team, and they don't maybe get as much visibility as some of the Power 5 games that we talk about. But this is a good football team. They're good on offense. They're top 10 on defense. And they're a group of 5 school going up against a Pac-12 school, which to me says that they're going to be fired up for the bowl game. Plus, I believe it's Marcus McMarion's final game as quarterback for Fresno. So you got that feel-good angle mixed in there as well. I am very confident in Fresno for all of those reasons. And I'm going to go Fresno here minus the points, early lock, and 40 confidence points.
Yeah, this feels like a who wants to be there, who doesn't. Arizona State in it pretty late for the Pac-12 South and don't make it happen. ASU also losing a key recruiting weekend with signing day coming just a couple days after this game. The game's on Saturday, the 15th. Signing day, I believe, is the 18th, 19th, somewhere in there.
19th, yeah.
And so this also plays into your de facto Super Bowl tie.
That's right. Yeah.
Because Fresno State on a big stage, network TV, I think it's on ABC, right?
Yep, ABC.
So this is a huge showcase for Fresno to potentially take down a Pac-12 team. So I think they match up well. They stop the run super well with Eno Benjamin on the other side. Arizona State's going to have to lean on that. So I'm right there with you with a pretty high level of confidence in Fresno State. I also feel like Herm Edwards is very dense. So I think he's sinking like a stone. So buoyancy wise,
okay,
I'm taking Fresno State in the deep end of the con pool.
They get a gift suite, a collectible Las Vegas item to be determined, a dad hat, a beanie, and a fanny pack.
Doesn't wow me, but you can eat super well.
That gift suite's doing a lot of heavy lifting in this.
Doing a lot of lifting. When was the last time you were in Vegas? It's been a long time for me.
Man, I was there a couple years ago for a conference for the Mysterious Day Job, but that was the last time.
Okay. Did you eat well?
I don't think I did, actually. I know you can eat well, but
yeah, you definitely.
It was
can.
one of those.
I bet these teams will.
Yeah, it was one of those conference deals where your schedule was kind of out of whack, and wasn't able to eat as well as I would have liked.
My food recommendation here, because I'm not going to recommend something in the giant hotel. I haven't been there, but people I trust swear by Lotus of Siam. A Thai place in like a strip mall that is apparently legendary in the Vegas area. So if you're an ASU fan or a Fresno State fan, Lotus of Siam.
The Raycom Media Camellia Bowl played at Montgomery, Alabama's Crampton Bowl, Saturday, 5:30 ESPN. We've got Georgia Southern at 9-3 against Eastern Michigan at 7-5. Southern is a 1-point favorite. And this is a weird one, if you ask me, because statistically, pretty even match, and the point spread reflects that. Only one in favor of Georgia Southern, so Vegas is seeing it too. The thing that I like is that Georgia Southern runs that option. And
the shotgun flex bone thing. Yeah,
it's tough to simulate that. You can simulate it with your practice squad. It's tough to simulate it well enough that you can get good at stopping it, even if you've got some advanced notice, knowing that it's coming. Now, granted, I think the best unit on the field is that Eastern Michigan defense, but they're going to have their work cut out for them here. I think the option is too much for Eastern. I don't have a ton of confidence in this game, but I'm still going to go a little higher than most and say 26 points in favor of Southern.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm worried about Eastern Michigan's defense, and I'm worried that you look at the teams that they were able to beat to get to this point, and there's not a lot of top 65, 70, 75 in the way of S&P Plus teams here. So Eastern Michigan got bowl eligible, and that's a huge win. I'm going Georgia Southern here, and it just so happened that I think Lunsford is a little bit more buoyant than Chris Creighton, who looks pretty jacked.
Yeah. Muscle is denser than fat, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Eagles here.
They get a gift suite, a Fossil watch, a Samsonite rolling duffel bag, a beanie,
that's nice.
A beanie, and a big game football, which is a specific kind of football. I'm guessing
you are somebody. Football. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here, but you are somebody when given free bags or free luggage, you are happy to take advantage in perpetuity. I think you still use your national championship backpack.
I'm looking at it right now here in the studio. It's
done a great job for us, toting equipment here and there.
To Fargo, North Dakota, the national championship North Texas 2015 backpack that they gave us. An Agio backpack. Maybe we'll be seeing some Agio here a little bit later on in bowl season.
This feels like a premium duffel, Ty.
It does. It's got rolling wheels on it. That's not bad.
I don't know what their various sizes. Do you wear a watch? Would a watch appeal to you here?
The Fossil watches tend to be a little too big for me. A little too much watch.
Hildenbrandt, yeah.
Yeah, a little too much watch face for me. But
I think this is solid here. I genuinely do. And I believe, no, I'm wrong. I was going to mention a restaurant, but that was Birmingham, not Montgomery. We'll move on.
All right. The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in New Orleans. Saturday, 9 p.m. ESPN. Middle Tennessee against App State. App State is a 7-point favorite. The teams here, it just says Gift Suite and Fossil Watch, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
I would like a little bit more in the way of details before I score this one. Again, Gift Suite doing a lot of heavy lifting.
I'll bet there's good stuff. It's in New Orleans. Maybe we get some beaded paraphernalia.
Be careful. Be careful with the beads on Bourbon Street.
Do you know, Ty, that there is basically a month-long holiday in New Orleans in December where you can go to basically any restaurant and there's like a 47-course meal to celebrate the holidays, and it looks fantastic. And for that reason, I think I'm actually going App State here.
Okay.
I think Tennessee's a little bit too close, a little bit too familiar with New Orleans in December, where it's new to App State. I know we have a coaching situation with Scott Satterfield leaving for Louisville, so I'm not going to be picking based on that. But yeah, I don't have a picture of Brent Stockstill in front of me. I'm going to go App State here. I'm going to go against East Coast Elliott with his, not having a coach, whatever. Middle Tennessee is another one of those teams that picked up a lot of wins against some lowly teams, whereas App State, even without, and I know Scott Satterfield is now bringing both his offensive and defensive coordinators from Boone to Louisville. I am going to go App State here. I just think their quality is too high, and I'm going to do it with a good amount of confidence.
So the mismatch-o-meter is in the red.
Yes.
You're burying the
100%.
needle here. Yeah. And look, I think that is the exception to Rule 2.
Yeah.
If you find that it's a mismatch, despite turnover of any kind, you go with the better team. And I think I agree with you here. Again, Scott Satterfield headed to Louisville. It was unclear initially if he was going to stick around and maybe coach App State in the bowl game, but that's not going to happen here. Mark Ivey is going to take over as the interim coach. I agree with you. App State's the better team. They're favored by a touchdown. Their sophomore quarterback, Zach Thomas, has been ridiculous all season long. He was named the Sun Belt's Offensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. I think App State is the better team. I am not going to put a high level of confidence on this one, like not 40 points, but I feel like App State is definitely going to win this football game. So I'm going to go 31 points on the Mountaineers.
Quick correction. It is Rick Stockstill. Brent is his son who was the quarterback. I'm going to stand by my App State pick.
The Cherabundi Boca Raton Bowl. They play this one in Boca at Howard Schnellenberger Field at FAU Stadium. It's on Tuesday on ESPN, 7 p.m. We've got UAB Hwab at 10-3 versus the Northern Illinois Huskies at 8-5. Hwab is a 2.5-point favorite. The teams in this one get a gift suite, a drawstring backpack, a beach towel, and a football.
Well, you get to go to Boca. It's pretty nice down there.
Listen. Drawstring backpacks, in my experience, are usually pretty poorly made. Like, that's a cheap gift.
Yeah, that doesn't do a lot for me.
You get that if you go to like a Microsoft conference, okay? A drawstring backpack, you can do better. Cherabundi. What is?
Do you know what Cherabundi is?
No, what is Cherabundi?
Cherabundi is a tart cherry juice. Do you know what tart cherry juice is good for?
Gout?
I mean, probably, yeah. I tell you. It's really good, and that makes sense that it would be, but I know it's also really good for muscle recovery, muscle relaxation. It's supposed to help you with your sleep a little bit. It's supposed to be very densely populated with good things for your body.
Cherabundi.
That's my medical. Yeah. I've never had Cherabundi. I can't speak to that specific brand. I've just had it before. The juice itself. So I'm going to put a good amount of confidence in this con pool in NIU.
Really? Okay, why?
I'm going with Northern Illinois. You look at the two schedules and you look at what they were and not able to do. And NIU had one of the secretly more impossible non-conference schedules in America with Utah, Florida State, and I want to say Iowa, representing 3 of their 5 losses. They won the MAC. They had big wins over a couple of interesting teams, good teams like Buffalo in the championship game. Very strange to say. So in terms of that, I like NIU. I think UAB is just talent-wise not necessarily on NIU's level with that defense that should mostly shut down the Blazers.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Buoyancy-wise, I think I'm going to go NIU as well.
This is going to be a super low scoring
Bill
game.
Clark looks dense.
Super low scoring game because both defenses are pretty good.
Yeah.
The problem for me is that NIU's offense is genuinely bad, and I think they have more trouble scoring. I'm going on the Schwab train here, Dan. I am. I'm going to do it. Not a ton of confidence, though. Only 10 confidence points.
I think Rod Carey floats.
Yeah. He sounds like a floater.
He does. I think he floats.
10 points.
There's a good,
10 points. The DXL Frisco Bowl in Frisco, Texas at Toyota Stadium, I believe, where they play the FCS National Championship.
Correct.
Wednesday, 8 p.m., so probably around the time that we're going to be editing our show a week from today. It's San Diego State at 7-5. It is the Ohio Bobcats at 8-4. Ohio actually favored by 3. They get a gift suite, a beanie cap, a coin, a pin, a big game football, and a Justin Cowboy hat, Dan.
I've looked it up. You can get Justin Cowboy hats on Amazon.
Justin, I believe, is a name brand. Yes?
Yeah.
Under what
It's like Jared. He went to Jared. Oh, he's wearing Justin.
That's right. Under what circumstances would you wear a cowboy hat?
It wouldn't take much. Cowboy hats are great.
Would you? What would it take for you to wear a cowboy hat out in Brooklyn, just casually?
Am I going somewhere? Am I going grocery shopping? Am I going to brunch? What's my MO here?
I need to know the scenario in which you would look around at baseball caps and beanies and whatever other headwear you have in your closet and decide that you're going to wear instead the Justin Cowboy hat out on the mean streets of Brooklyn.
I think it's a mood thing. I don't think it's a situation thing, actually, the more I think about it. Sometimes you're just in a cowboy hat mood.
Yeah?
I don't know if it's
Does that
felt.
happen
I don't
often?
know if you're going leather.
Often to you?
It happens more than you'd think. It happens more than you'd think. And the Justin hats look good enough. You have your beanie, you have your coin, you have a commemorative pin. I hope the gift suite is doing well in Frisco. By the way, do you know what DXL is?
DXL, isn't that the new version of Big and Tall Casual Mail?
It is, I think so. D stands for
Dude XL?
Destination XL.
Okay.
I clicked on this website and we already have an apparel sponsor for this show. So all I'm going to say is if you're a larger dude, seems pretty good. Seems pretty good.
All right. DXL Frisco Bowl. Get the cowboy hat, you get your beanie cap, your coin, your pin. DXL, by the way, a great sponsor for a college bowl game.
This would actually, it would make sense that I don't see it here, and maybe in previous years this was true of the Belk Bowl, where you get a shopping spree. You know, there would always be like an unnamed amount of money or whatever to Belk. Do we have a DXL that we can get these offensive and defensive linemen to around Frisco? I'm looking up DXL locations. Unfortunately for us, Ty, we are not XL people.
No.
Oh, they're all over Texas, Ty. The shops at Park Lane in the Dallas area. Oh, yeah. They're in Fort Worth. Oh, yeah. Get yourself to a DXL. If you're a larger human and you're playing in the DXL, which bowl is this? The Frisco Bowl.
Frisco Bowl, yeah. All right. So
San Diego State, Ohio.
San Diego State, Ohio. Rocky Long, you know him. We've talked about him for SDSU. He's taken the Aztecs to a bowl game in all 8 seasons that he's been there. The defense is there this year, but the offense really isn't. Like that's
they left the offense in 2016.
The offense is taking a gap year.
Yeah.
And I think this presents an opening for an Ohio State. No. And I think this presents an opening for an Ohio team that's been dynamic offensively. They've been bad on
especially the back half of this year. Yeah.
Yeah, the last, 5 of their 6 games to close the season, they scored 49 points, at a minimum 49 points.
Yeah,
and
they put it on teams.
You contrast that with San Diego State, which lost 4 of their last 5 here. So we've got a real good clash of strength and weakness. The Ohio offense, the Aztec defense, and then almost a battle of weaknesses between the San Diego State offense and the Ohio defense, which has also been pretty bad. I'm going to go Ohio here, Dan. What the hell?
Yeah, I like the quarterback situation a lot more with the Bobcats, what Nathan Rourke has been able to do. I am going Ohio here. I'm putting a good amount of confidence in it. San Diego State, even with the road win at Boise State, which was crazy impressive, It's just been kind of a nightmare of a back half of the year, just losing close, losing big, whatever. It hasn't been great for the Aztecs. It's been, as you're right, a gap year. And Frank Solich is a survivor. And so I don't think he's going down. Buoyancy, whatever, is opposing him. Rocky Long, a little older. I'm going with Frank Solich in the con pool. So a healthy amount of confidence here in the Bobcats.
38 points for me.
Whoa.
Told you, man. Load up early. Load up.
You have a strategy.
Early. All right.
This is your all fantasy baseball closer strategy.
Punt on the wins, load up on saves. Why not?
Yeah.
Finally, we're going to do this one, even though technically it will come after one of our upcoming shows, but just to give everyone a little bit more runway to make these picks, we're not going to preview every game tonight. It is the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you again. Is it Gasparilla or Gasparilla?
I really, would hope it would be Gasparilla, but I think it is Gasparilla.
Gasparilla. What is Gasparilla?
We've probably talked about this the entirety of this bowl existing. It's like a pirate themed something in Tampa, a parade, a celebration of some kind. So obviously, you know about the Buccaneers in Tampa. There is that, they have the ship in Raymond James. So I think it's along those lines.
Okay. Well, I'm looking right now at Bad Boy Mowers, and let me tell you, as a new homeowner, I could get into this.
You have a big yard.
I could sink my teeth into a nice zero-turn mower.
You have handheld or a rider right now?
I have a push mower right now. Self-propelled.
You have a push mower.
Yeah, but these are riding
happy with
mowers.
it?
I'm happy with it, yeah.
The riding mowers seem like you should only have them if you have a ton of lawn, acres upon acres to mow, or walking is difficult. I say that as somebody who's never had a lawn, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
I could sink my teeth
I like
into
the
a
push
nice
mower.
Zero-turn riding mower here.
Okay. And what are you walking away from this bowl in if you're playing?
It says you're walking away with a gift suite, Dan.
Come on, Bad Boy Mowers. Yeah, I don't know what I would go for in the gift suite, once in the gift suite. Do you go for the big ticket items or do you load up on quantity?
I think you got to go big ticket items, right?
You just take a Bluetooth speaker and that's that?
Take the thing that you're going to use, not the thing that you think you might use.
But you could also get a bunch and give them away as gifts. A bunch of little things.
You could, but you earned it. If you're a college football player, you earned it. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into this team all year. You go to the bowl game. This should be about celebrating you and your team. So pick something that you personally would want.
Fair. Yeah. I could see somebody's aunt wanting a Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl pullover.
Okay.
I could.
All right. Well, Thursday, the 20th of December, 8 p.m. ESPN, Marshall at 8-4, South Florida at 7-5. The Bulls are a 2.5-point favorite. I've got two notes here, both of which are on the South Florida side. Number one, Sterling Gilbert, their offensive coordinator, left to be the head coach at McNeese State. I don't know if that matters because, as you know, not all coaching turnover is created equal. The Bulls on offense really limped to the finish out there. And
yes, they did.
If you read what people are saying, Bulls fans were not happy with the product that Gilbert was putting out there down the stretch. So maybe this is for the better. I don't know. Point two, Blake Barnett actually hurt his shoulder and his ankle, and he missed 2 of the last 3 games at the end of the year, which certainly contributes a little bit to any offensive woes. It is unclear at time of recording if he's going to play in this bowl game, and even if he plays, how effective he will be. With that as the backdrop, Dan, what do you got?
First of all, there is a density to Charlie Strong that I do not trust in the con pool. There just isn't. Right. Also, USF is playing at home, and they're only favored by 2.5. That's worrisome to me. So give me Doc and Marshall. Give me Doc and the herd. I'm in. I'm ready.
I'm going to go. We agree. I'm going to go Marshall as well because of the defense. Their offense is dreadful. Very dreadful.
It improved, Marshall's.
It improved, and it's still dreadful, which tells you something. But maybe they get a big player from Tyre Brady, their playmaker out wide. Maybe it's just a stifling effort from the defense. But There's enough uncertainty on the South Florida side. I agree with you playing the game at home and only being favored by 2.5 against a team that has a pretty bad offense. That's a bit of an indicator. I am not very confident in this Marshall pick, mind you. So I'm going to go Marshall with let's say 12 points.
Yeah, I was going to say 9 or 10 for me.
I'm going to go 12
They
points
definitely
here.
played better second half of the year, but this is more betting against betting against the lack of momentum that USF has right now as a program. Defense takes a big step in the wrong direction this year. There's unhappiness, with Sterling Gilbert, as you mentioned, and the health at quarterback. It's all worrisome to me. So I'm going with stability here. I'm going with Marshall.
Again, my 3 rules. We're not going to be with you to make all of these picks, but as you make the picks, first and foremost, load up early. Get all your confidence points out early, or as many as you're willing to gamble early. Get them out there. Number 2, consider the turnover, right? Yep. Coach is leaving. Are there injuries? Are there guys sitting out? Consider it. Look to see if it's a mismatch, but at least consider it. And number 3, look to see motivation. Who wants to be there? Who doesn't?
And number 4, buoyancy.
Buoyancy, right?
Con pool buoyancy.
All right.
And I'm not loving Charlie Strong in a pool right now. Sad to say.
Well, there you go. There's your first batch of games here.
Yeah.
On the Verbal. Hope it helps. Again, solidverbal@gmail.com. Email us. Let us know what you think. We'd be curious.
So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday is a pretty fun day because we haven't had football in a little while on this level, on the FBS and Power 5 level, since we do have Arizona State playing. But everybody's going to be tuned in basically watching the same games at stretches, 4 stretches. We'll have a lot of eyeballs on Arizona State, Fresno State, which is never true. We'll have a lot of eyeballs on Georgia Southern, Eastern Michigan, which would never be true. I know there's Thursday night games and Wednesday night games, Tuesday night games, but this is everybody on a Saturday in front of a TV, paying attention to teams that maybe the casual fan doesn't always pay attention to. So there is something that I still maintain is pretty cool about this opening bowl Saturday.
I agree.
Yeah, and then we got Tuesday is UAB, Wednesday is San Diego State, Ohio, Thursday, Marshall, USF. That's great.
So here's the deal. We'll be back again on Sunday. We're going to preview more bowl games. We'll probably, I'm sure, talk about some of the results of these games on Saturday. But make sure, if you haven't already, to sign up for the Bowl Pick'em Pool, the Bowl Confidence Pool, at solidverbal.com/conpool, Daniel.
Conpool.
CONPOOL. It's free to play. The winner's going to get a t-shirt. We'll hook you up. We promise, okay? On that note, Dan, and before we go any further, please tell me some of the names of guys who have decided they're going to go early to the NFL.
Oh, yeah. That's happening more and more, and it'll happen after bowl games as well. I think you could have until mid-January, I want to say, as a cutoff point.
Yep.
Maybe they've been changing it. Jarrett Stidham for Auburn.
Okay.
He certainly considered it last year and hurt his stock coming back with his season, but we'll see how he's evaluated. Greedy Williams at LSU, considered to be one of, if not the best cover corner in the nation. Noah Fant,
tight end, Iowa. Yeah.
Mr. Incredible for Iowa, did a great job alongside TJ Hawkinson this year. Brian Burns, the end at Florida State, really good pass rusher. AJ Brown, and just havoc wreaker in general. A.J. Brown, who is among the most talented receivers in the country, wasn't as prolific this year with some inconsistencies with Ole Miss in general. DJ Metcalf, same story there with Ole Miss. And Greg Little, a nice year, and a nice enough year. Haven't watched a lot of tape on left tackle for Ole Miss, but came in super highly regarded, and obviously either is done with his time at Ole Miss or feels he can make a splash in the NFL. So those are some of the big ones that have happened in the last few days. I saw FAU, I think it's Devin Singletary, who had a crazy good 2017. He declared as well. So there are more names to pay attention to, but it keeps happening. It's going to, just like every year, it's going to be a completely new look year in college football. I think the heater just kicked on in this room. Can you hear it?
I do hear it in the back.
Yeah. I didn't. That was unexpected.
All right. Well, it's a good time then to depart.
Yep.
Thank you again to everyone for downloading the show. Please do get on in that confidence pool. We'll be back on Sunday to talk more college football, more bowl season, more news, more coaching carousel. Who knows what'll pop up after we hit the stop button. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. My name is Ty. His name is Dan. Until next time, stay solid.
Peace.